Psychosis is a syndrome. That is, it is a group of symptoms that can be caused by many things. And psychotic disorders include a range of mental illnesses, some that you probably have heard about, things like schizophrenia. It also includes drug-induced psychosis, delusional disorder, schizoaffective disorder, among others. But what are these group of symptoms? In this video, we're going to react to footage of someone with psychosis, and we're going to identify some of the key psychotic features that he demonstrates. The video is from the University of Nottingham, and I'll share a link to the video in the description below. But before we begin, I'll give you a bit of an overview of the psychotic symptoms. Now, it's characterized best as the positive, the negative, and the cognitive. Now, the positive symptoms are the things like hallucinations and delusions. Now, delusions are fixed and false beliefs that are inconsistent with someone's background, and they can be all sorts of things like persecutory or bizarre, or, there's all these different terms we give delusions, but essentially they are inconsistent with someone's background. So it's not because if you don't believe in God and someone else does believe in God, and that's a fixed and false belief in your point of view, that they are delusional because other people believe in God. But if they believe that God is talking to them and helping them fly, then that is a bit more towards the delusional side of things. Hallucinations are essentially perceptions that are false. So these are people who often in psychotic illnesses that are like mental illnesses, they'll have auditory hallucinations, hear voices, but you can also get visual hallucinations, especially with drugs, and other types of hallucinations like tactile hallucinations where you feel things or even smell things, olfactory hallucinations. Now, onto the negative symptoms. This is things like apathy and lack of social interests, withdrawing socially, and anhedonia, so a lack of motivation to do things that you usually would do. And then there's the cognitive symptoms. And the cognitive symptoms are essentially when the logical flow of thought, which we interpret as speech because that's how we read other people's minds through what they say, is interrupted and they don't have logical flow. So they might just be saying random words that don't follow, or they might just be talking about this table 1 second and then about MI5 another second and then about gardening the next second, and you'll feel like you can't keep up, like it's not making sense. And the way that you feel is actually important in the diagnosis of someone's thought form. Anyway, that's enough of a lecture. Let's get into the video. Okay, we've got our stimulus. It says Andy, a 21-year-old university student who is seeing a psychiatrist due to concerns by his GP. He's in the final year of his degree and lives in a shed house with friends. Let's check it out.
Hi Andy, do you want to come on in and have a seat? I'm Dr. Taylor. I'm the on-call psychiatrist for this afternoon. I got a call this morning from your family doctor because I think you went to see him this morning along with your mum, and I gather that things have been a little bit difficult for you. You've had some rather distressing experiences. So I think your doctor thought it might be helpful for us to have a bit of a discussion about that to see if I could help. Would that be all right with you?
No, it's fine.
Would it be all right, Andy, for you to tell me a little bit about what's been going on?
Just in case you're a medical student and you have to do histories, that's a great first question. Always ask an open-ended first question and then give people a golden 2 minutes to just tell you what's on their mind. It's priceless.
Well, you're going to think it sounds stupid, but my housemates are working for MI5.
Right.
And they're doing stuff to my brain.
Okay.
And they're out to get me.
Okay, that must be very difficult for you.
So they're out to get me. I can kind of already tell this is acted because that's a kind of classical line that you're taught about in textbooks. But anyway, they're out to get me. They're doing things to my brain. This is obviously quite persecutory. He's feeling like he's being persecuted by a group of people, in this case his flatmates. And there's probably a bit of delusional content because it's incredibly unlikely that his university flatmates are MI5 trying to get him.
Okay. How long has this been going on for, Andy?
About 2 months.
Right. And how did you first work out that this is what was happening?
I came home one time and they'd moved the TV to the other side of the room,
right.
And I knew then.
And what was it that you knew at that moment?
That they were for MI5.
So his face darting across the room, that's actually pretty well done here. That is something you see commonly if someone's having internal, like they're reacting to internal stimuli is what you say, but it's essentially they're having hallucinations that are distracting them. They're looking in the corners of the room and that kind of thing. They might have heard something.
Right, okay. So it's been going on a couple of months?
Yeah, this new lecturer started at uni, and he works for MI5.
Right.
And he basically drafted my housemates in, turned them against me.
Okay. Now I've noticed a couple of times while we've been talking that you've sort of looked round you into the room as if you're checking for something. Could I ask you what's happening at those times?
Well, I can hear them talking about me.
Right. Who is it you can hear?
My housemates.
Right. So
Auditory hallucinations?
Yeah, I can hear them all the time.
Right. How many voices can you hear, Andy?
3. There's 3 of them.
Okay. And do they sound real, like my voice sounds talking to you now?
Yeah, it's odd. It's like I can hear them when they're not here.
Right.
And
so what they're not, and when they're not in the house with you?
yeah, it's like they're in the other room or something.
Okay. And can you hear what they're actually saying?
Yeah, they're talking about me.
Right. Okay.
They're always talking about me. They're always commenting on everything that I'm doing.
Right. Can you give me an example of what they would say?
Well, like if I'm packing my bag to go to uni or something, they'll comment on that, like he's left the house now. Or,
Okay.
you know.
Anything else?
This kind of type of auditory hallucination, and auditory hallucinations can come in many different types. So they can be persecutory, or they can be commentating or commentary, which is what he's describing. They can also be commanding, like telling you what to do. When psychosis is well controlled, and I've met people with chronic schizophrenia who just hear whispers and they can't even make out what the whispers are saying. So they're really, really subtle. So there's a huge variability, and some are more dangerous than others. Definitely if you have commanding hallucinations that are telling you to hurt other people or yourself, that's a big red flag, right?
Do they ever talk to each other, perhaps, about you?
Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, and now they know. They've sort of twigged that I know about them now,
Right.
and they're saying like I'm making trouble.
Okay.
And that they're gonna sort me out.
Okay. What about actually talking directly to you in the way that I'm talking to you now? Does that ever happen, Andy?
No.
Okay. So you've been hearing the voices of your housemates. Have there been any other changes? Have there been any changes perhaps to the way you're thinking? Sometimes people tell us that their thinking changes in some way. So, for example, they might feel that they're getting thoughts put into their head that aren't their own. Have you had any experiences like that?
Yeah, I do think things that aren't me. Like they're putting stuff in my brain. It's not me. I'm not thinking.
So different thoughts in your brain.
I didn't talk about thought insertion at the start of the video, my apologies, but that's another cognitive symptom of psychosis. And you can have thought insertion or thought broadcasting. So that's when you think that people can hear your thoughts. But you could just imagine if you actually just think about how distressing it would be to honestly feel like someone is planting thoughts that aren't yours into your mind. Like you can't even trust your own interpretation of reality in that case. It's extremely distressing, and obviously this is why psychosis and psychotic illnesses are so debilitating.
Yeah, that's like, it's stupid stuff as well. It's like the other day I suddenly just started thinking about some woman in Coronation Street. I don't watch any of that crap.
Right, it's not your kind of thing normally. Right.
They're not my thoughts.
Right, okay. And do you have any idea how that's happening? Or who's responsible?
It's MI5, it's this chip they've put in my head.
Right, okay.
And
this chip is another kind of classical psychotic symptom. I've spoken to lots of patients who think they have a chip specifically. So it's weird, but yeah, chips are a kind of common theme in psychotic delusions.
Feel it all the time.
Okay. So you're getting thoughts put into your brain that aren't your own. What about a different sort of experience? What about the experience that somehow other people are able to know what you're thinking, even though you haven't actually told them?
No.
So that's like thought broadcasting.
They're just putting stuff in my head.
Just putting stuff. And can I just check, Andy, as well, that you're not getting the experience when your thoughts just stop altogether, like you have no thoughts left?
No. If anything, there's too much in there. I wish I could unplug it.
Okay.
get this thing out of my head.
Right. And you mentioned this chip or this device in your brain. Do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
Well, it's a tracking device, so they
Right.
know where I am at all times, and that I can feel it moving.
Paranoid themes.
You can feel the physical sensation in your brain. Okay. Okay. That must be very difficult for you.
I don't know why they're doing this to me. I've done nothing wrong.
Okay. Can I just check, are there any problems, Andy, with the rest
Distraction.
of your body? Any changes in sensation or any bits that feel different in any way?
No, I feel fine. I'm not ill or anything. I just want this thing out of my head.
And a common theme that I think we can all pick up on is that he's got this kind of lack of insight, lack of awareness that this is abnormal and that he's got a kind of psychotic illness.
I mean, it sounds like a very difficult time for you. Can I ask you, Andy, how are you coping with all this? How's it affecting you?
Well, I'm not really leaving my room much, and I sort of have to wait till they go out to go down and get some food, but they've been doing stuff to my food now.
This kind of not leaving your room much is one of those negative symptoms I was talking about, kind of social withdrawal element.
So,
okay. What do you think's happening to your food?
They're poisoning it.
Right, okay. Are you actually eating?
That's a common theme too, I've seen.
No.
Okay. Now, with all this happening, and this sounds like you don't feel very safe, have I got that right? Okay. Have you felt the need, I don't know, to take steps to protect yourself in any way?
Well, I've got a knife.
Okay.
And I've got like a baseball bat.
Right.
It's just in case they get in my room. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just feel like I've got to protect myself. It's like it's cornering me to do this.
Right, okay. Have you felt the need to use either the knife or the baseball bat so far? To take it out with you for protection?
No, I don't want to get caught.
Okay,
no,
okay.
It's just in my room.
Okay. Has it ever got so bad, Andy, that you felt the need to hurt yourself or even kill yourself as the only way out, the only way of coping with this?
Well, I thought about getting some pills, but I couldn't leave the house, so I didn't.
So that's a pretty good risk assessment. Thoughts of harm to others, thoughts of harm to self, and it's shown that he's got like weapons that he's hiding in his room, luckily that he's not bringing out, but also that he's got this kind of passive suicidal ideation where he was thinking of suicide, thinking of doing it, but hasn't yet done it, and we don't know at this point, but probably doesn't have a clean plan that's established that he wants to follow.
Get anything.
And when you say getting some pills, would that be to take an overdose of tablets?
Yeah.
But you've not actually done anything about that so far? Okay. In the past, have you ever had any problems either with your temper or getting into fights, being aggressive, either with your housemates or anybody else?
No, I'm not that kind of person. I don't want to.
No history of violence.
They're just driving me to this.
And can I just check again, you've not been in trouble with the police or anything like that?
No, never.
No forensic history.
With all this that's going on,
Distractibility.
is there anywhere at the moment, Andy, that you feel safe?
My parents' house.
Right, okay. And have you seen much of your parents recently?
Yeah, I thought about going back there, but I don't want to.
Good to know he has social supports.
My 5 knowing about them.
Right. And throughout this last couple of months, when you've had all these worries, have you ever worried that your parents might in some way be involved in this conspiracy?
I thought about it, but no.
Okay, okay.
Alright guys, that is it for this video. I hope you found that helpful, that assessment of psychosis. If you're interested in more mental health, medicine or medical school videos, please leave a comment below and tell me which country you're watching this from. I love making YouTube videos in my free time, and you guys commenting and liking the video is how I know to keep doing that. Let me know if you have any questions about psychosis as well, and I can try and get to them in the comments. Other than that, have an absolutely lovely day. Alright, bye for now.